What's New is brought to you by Assassin's Creed 3. Ignite the revolution October 30th. A global crisis is devastating the world, zombies are running amok, and a brand new Resident Evil is about to throw you straight into the middle of the chaos. The Resident Evil franchise has changed a lot throughout the years, but is Resident Evil 6 really different from all the others? Let's take a look at some of the big new features. Some of the changes just may surprise you. Capcom has stated that Resident Evil 6 is their biggest and most ambitious Resident Evil game to date. To deliver on that promise, they've added a bunch of new modes and features that are brand new to the sequel. Let's start with how the story is set up. While past Resident Evil games usually follow two characters that run crazy through the same locations, Resident Evil 6 actually has 4 distinct single-player campaigns and a total of 7 playable characters. Yep, that's right, 4 separate campaigns that you can play in any order. Some of the campaigns do cross over and repeat sections, so don't expect them to be completely original content. Each campaign has a beginning and an end, but you'll have to play them all to get the full story. Anyway, Leon S. Kennedy will team up with Helena Harper in the overrun city of Tall Oaks, very much with a Raccoon City vibe. Chris Redfield will team up with fellow BSAA agent Pierce Nivens in both Eastern Europe and Shanghai. The third campaign follows Sherry Birkin, who's all grown up from her time in Resident Evil 2, and a brand new character named Jake Mueller, who has a few daddy issues with the series' former big baddie, Albert Wesker. And finally, we have the lovely Ada Wong. Her campaign only unlocks after you beat the other 3, and she's much too good to have a partner, because she's freaking Ada Wong. We have to mention that when we say full campaigns, we really mean it. Each campaign takes 5 to 8 hours to finish. Stack that all up and you have the biggest game in RE history. This is a much more global story than past Resident Evils, which usually went from Evil Mansion to Evil Laboratory. Resident Evil has seen a number of playstyles throughout the ages, from the fixed camera angles and rotating characters of RE1 to the non-stop action of RE5. Resident Evil 6 mixes styles from all the past games. There's exploration and puzzle solving in creepy locales, fending off hordes of mutated critters, and ridiculous Hollywood action scenes. One of the largest changes is that you can finally move and shoot. Yes, we know pretty much every game does it now, but this is a pretty big deal for this series. The cover system from Resident Evil 5 has also been brought back, so yes, many enemies will be shooting at you. Now, one of the biggest changes is the brand new skill point system. Instead of dropping money that can be used to upgrade weapons, enemies now drop skill points when they die. You'll use this by buying attribute-based upgrades that can be used by all characters across the 4 different campaigns. These upgrades cover everything from making your melee snappier to your gun recoil less, and you can equip up to 3 at a time. Think of them like perks. Of course, this also means that Capcom has done away with the whole gun upgrading and merchant thing.
Got something that might interest you.
Sorry, Resident Evil 4 merchant. We still love you. Let's talk some health facts. Instead of RE5 circle or the vital sign thing, you'll be getting 6 health blocks. As long as a full block isn't completely gone, it will regenerate after a few moments, but to get entire blocks back, you'll have to turn once again to trusty herbs. Herbs work a little different. You have to convert them to pills in order to use them. Combining different herbs yields a different number of pills, so feel free to experiment around. I guess all the RE characters took chemistry in college or something. Finally, this is a small one, but the game doesn't actually pause when you select weapons and items. And on that note, let's move to our last section of the day, game modes. Alright, so the big addition in Resident Evil 5 was its co-op mode. For the first time, Resident Evil fans could play the entire story together with a friend. Resident Evil 6 brings back co-op, but makes a few changes in the process. 3 of the 4 campaigns use it. Remember how we talked about Ada being too good for anyone else? Unlike the last game, your friends can actually take control of player 2 at any point in a chapter and drop out at any time they want. There are also points in the game where multiple campaigns will intersect with each other. If you so desire, the game can search out random people who are playing those specific points at the same time you are, and then drop those players into your game. So basically, for those very specific parts, you can have up to 4 human players taking on the baddies. Another new mode is called Agent Hunt mode. In this mode, human players can actually take control of enemy creatures and drop into people's games to wreak havoc. There are several different forms you can mutate to if you always wanted to live out an infected life. Finally, Mercenaries mode returns where you race against the clock to kill enemies. One of the new features here is that it is now integrated with something called ResidentEvil.net. This service tracks all your stats so you can compare with your friends on the net and on mobile apps, and you'll also be able to unlock in-game items through it. Alright, there's more to say, but that about covers the important stuff. While the point of this show is to let you know about new features, don't forget to check IGN for our review of the game, where we give you our final say. Also, let us know in the comments what new feature you think is most promising in RE6. I'm Naomi Kyle, and thanks for checking out What's New.